Greetings, I'm Barrett and welcome to Meet Me at the Table. Today we're going to be doing a playthrough of Lands of Galzyr. We're going to start from the very beginning. So this is the very first time you'd ever open the box and start playing. That is what we're going to do. I've already put our cards all in there ready to go, but I am still going to go through the exact setup you should when you start this game, so you know exactly what you're getting into and you don't miss anything as you're going through this, because if there aren't some cards in certain places, it could make a difference as you start to play through the game. I'm hoping you're excited to see this one. This is a really neat game. It's a huge open world adventure type game, and it has a lot of neat things going for it. Not only that, every time you come back to it, it can be persistently changing. You're going to have things that go into different areas of the box that are going to come back out the next time you play, making this game kind of feel like a living game as you continue to play it. It is a really cool system. I'm really excited to show you exactly how this works. If you're excited to see Lands of Galzyr, then I need you to meet me at the table. This game comes with this thing called the welcome letter along with the rulebook. You need to have this ready to go when you're ready to start playing the game. This is going to teach you exactly how you're going to set up the game and get you ready for your first mission. Each character is a little bit different. They have different places you're going to be putting these little tokens that are going to give you advantages on certain type of skill checks through the game. It starts by preparing our first game. We're going to attach the gold dials to represent adventures, and we're going to rotate it to 10 gold. Then we're going to place all the different acrylic pieces into the places shown on the board. For this playthrough, we are going to play solo, and I am going to be playing with the Kingfisher here. Notice on this little board here that they have some tags. These might be used for some of our skill checks. This is our gold right here. We do start with 10, and here are the different things we put in there. They're acrylic pieces. They don't fall out. It's really a cool system. It works really well. These can change throughout your game and throughout your adventure on the Land of Galzyr. So just be aware that even though these start like this, that doesn't mean that's what they're going to be. The second part of our setup is going to have to do with the way you're getting your box all set up. Like I said, my box is already set up, but I do want to start talking a little bit about it. There are 4 different sections to this box that you're going to have to set up. First, we're going to take our brown dividers. We're going to place everything between 0 and 50 there, then 50 to 100 and so on and so forth. That's easily set up. You'll have probably no problem doing that. The brown dividers, then the cards are behind them, are referred to as the library. So whenever it's referring to a library, it has this symbol on it, it's going to be referring to that. Again, like I said, I have set everything up, and we have our library all set up 0 through 50, 50 to 100, and so on and so forth down the line here. This is where things get a little bit tricky. You're going to place the purple divider, which is going to be in the front of the library, and we're only going to take these cards, and we're going to, there's only 22 of them, and we're going to put them there. We're going to take them from the library. We're going to shuffle them. Make sure you shuffle them and put them behind that purple divider. Then there's going to be this black divider, which is called the vault. And behind the vault, we're going to have cards 296 to 299 in ascending order. You don't want to mix those up. So again, taking a look at the box, we have those cards right here. And remember, they are going to be having the numbers right up here. You don't want to try to read the cards. You just want to look for the numbers that you're going to do. And as you can see, mine are very randomized here for that purple section of the box, which is called, I believe, the quest slot is what this little indication right there. The vault is at the end of your box. It's right here, and it has those cards it told us to put there. And the cool thing is that even with these sleeved, with the sleeves that came with the Kickstarter, they all fit exactly into this one box. Now that we have our library set up, our quest slots, and our vault ready to go, we're going to get our characters all set to go, so that if we ever decide to play with somebody new, we'll have them also set to go. We're going to take all the other teal divider trays. They have the 4 different characters and our global one, which of course is the cool thing about this game. Things will go into that global thing that will come out in the next game, and so on and so forth, which is really neat how this goes continues on forward. And there are things that are going to be on the board that will go into that, so they'll come back out for our next game as well. We're going to place the cards behind the teal dividers that do not have to be in numerical order. That's a cool thing about this. They're just going to be things for our characters or for the global conditions. And they're all going to come out, so it doesn't matter what order they're actually in. We are going to take all 4 000s and 111 from the library and place them behind their corresponding characters. We're then going to roll the 12-sided die and take the cards that are part of this global thing here, and we're going to roll and see which one happens. What they mean by that is you're going to take cards 01 through 011. These are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. I think there's 12 of them. There should be 12. Yes, there's 12 of these. And these are really just the months of the year. And it depends on which one you roll. You're going to take that card, and that is the month of the year that you're going to start on. We'll start by rolling that and see what month we're going to be in. We're going to be in month number 9. So we're going to grab that card, 009, and see what month we're in. We are going to be in the month of September, meaning that says here, the weather is turning colder and the frequent rain into first snowfall. Some scale folks and pale folks travel south to escape the coming frost. Use the winter side of both the game board and the location cards, and we'll replace this card with 10 from the library after this when we go to the next one. Basically, what that is signifying is that when we come back to the world the next time, it'll be October, and so the world continues to persistently go from winter to summer to spring to fall. It's really neat how they do that. Then the last few things we have to do is we have to take these cards from the library, shuffle the 12 with that symbol together, and then put all of them behind the teal divider. Then we're going to take 3 of the ones from the quest slot, and we're going to put those behind the teal divider as well, so that those are going to be our starting quests that we have out on the board when we begin our game. We'll set our character up first. First, we have no items, which is where you'd put right down here. The max you can have are 3. Also, we do, like I said, have our 10 gold. And it does even remind us here to take card 00 from the library. So we do have our 000 card right here. And notice the symbol here that shows us that this is for this character. The other ones will have the symbols for their own character. For example, if we were playing with this character, notice the lizard one has the lizard symbol there. Once we do that, we're then going to take our 111 card and get that ready as well. And that, just like the other one, is going to have the symbol of the character that we're looking for. We're going to quickly look at these 2 cards. One of them is going to be our starting quest for our character, and the other one is going to be an ability that this character gets. Through a life of uncertainty, you have learned to embrace the unknown. When the opportunity calls, you spread your wings and leave others in the dust. During travel, you may discard to get 3 movement. If you move with non-flight companions, what's this? A symbol like that, return them to the, oh, I see. So if we have non-flight companions, we're going to have to return them to the box or the library. That's pretty interesting. The next thing we have is our quest here. It says Friend in Need, Part 1. With the help of a friend, you've come to Galzyr for a fresh start. It is time to leave your old life behind and experiences the adventures you've always yearned for. During setup, do not place your figure on the game board. All right, and this cannot be abandoned. So if you do have quests, you might have to abandon them. Also, if you notice this symbol down here, this is mandatory when it comes to this part of the game where you're going to have to choose what quest to kind of work on and what story to interact with. You have to do these first. And it says start your adventure 0086. We're going to find that in the journal, and we'll look at that when we get to that point. We do have our character that we're going to place on the board here because it says not to place it on the game board. So we'll just place it there and have it ready to go. Our character's all set up. Let's go ahead and get the board ready to go now. Here's a super panned out view of the board, and we had to go with the snow side because that is what month we're in. We are in the month of September, so we do have to play on the winter side of the board. I did get all of our events here, these 22 cards with this back that we had to pick out. We're going to give them a truffle shuffle, so they're all set to go, and I'm going to place them down over the side. Then we have to get all of our locations ready to go. The locations we have are right here. They do have a front side, which is the non-snow side, and the back side, which is the snow side. So we're going to place them out there in all the locations where you're going to go. I believe you just look right here. 12 is going to go right here, and it's just going to go in that order. We have 11 here, 10 here, then we're going to place 9 right down here, 8 is right here, 7 over here, 6, and these are all in order. They don't have to be in order, but it's just a little bit easier at the start when you're trying to get everything all set up to keep these in at least some kind of order, because you just throw them out on the board super easy, just like that. Off the board here, we have a prestige chart. I have taken my token and placed it on the 0. The goal of the game is to get as much prestige as you can in the amount of time that you have, and that's determined by the next card we're going to see. Also, we have this little token here. This is going to represent where and when we are on the time track, and as we move this, it'll uncover and cover certain elements of the game that we're going to be removing and adding to it, and we'll be discerning those with these particular items here. I'll show you those and how they work in just a second. The next thing we have to do is we have to place out our starting quests. We do have 3 starting quests that we randomly chose. They're in these 3 locations. The first one we have here says, I came to Galzyr for a little vacation. The trip is already well planned and I'd love some company. Karmariama, the Gila monster. And this is going to be located in that city right there. So we'll place down one of these tokens in that particular city, which is right here. If we ever move into there or end our move there, we can choose to pick up this quest if we want. The next one is this one. Someone help me find a trainer for my upcoming race. Raguri, the red-necked wallaby. And that's going to be located here in, what is it, Chabara. We'll take one of these and place it in Chubara right up there. The last one we have is this one. I need a trustworthy courier for a simple delivery. Contact me if you recognize yourself. Okay, Radavas, a steep polecat, and this is going to be in Hezembi. We'll grab this. Now, I apologize if I'm saying the words wrong, but it's going to go into this town. Now, there's two different cards here. We'll just place it right there for now. We'll see if that's where it is, or if it's over here. I'll have to check on that. I don't believe it matters which one is in. If it does, please let me know in the comments below, and I will switch that up. But I think it just goes in either one of these because they're both the same city. Okay, if we look at our cards down here, I believe this is how it works. This, I believe, is where you're going to be able to gain the quests as in that one because it has the green symbol. Again, if I'm wrong, let me know. And please, when you're watching the video, check the pinned comments because a lot of the times the viewers that watch this are able to help in some of the things that we may have gotten wrong as we're playing through it. And their pinned comments is where I put all the errors after this video is launched, that so everybody that watches it can learn from this playthrough and be able to get their game ready to go and play from this, watching this video. We'll place our 3 quests right out there. You can have more than 3 out here, but whenever there's less than 3, we're going to be drawing one from the box from the very front of it. So it is a random quest that continues to come up, but if you ever add quests to it, you add them to the back. And so you'll have to get through the ones that you've randomly put there from the beginning in order to see some of those new ones. We also have 2 different cards as well we have to get out on the board. One of them is for competitive play, and we're not doing that. Competitive play, whoever gets the most prestige is the winner. We're going to be playing Harmony. Reach your true potential by ignoring needless distractions. Play solo or cooperatively, or return this card to the global box. So we're going to play cooperatively, and we're going to return this one back to the global tab of our box there and see what this one says. If you notice here, gathering 200, and that's going to happen when our time track reaches X. X is 8 because we have 1 player we're going to play with. You can play with multiples, and doing so, if playing cooperatively, you can work together. Even competitively, you can work together. And if you're ever in the same place where you are both standing in the same place, well, I guess that kind of made sense. Both in the same place. If you're both staying in the same place, you can share gold and items, but you cannot share quests. You cannot trade quests, but you can trade gold and items freely amongst each other when it's one of their particular turn. On top of that, in some of the quests, you can help each other when trying to perform them, and you can use some of the stats from each of you to help get certain better dice. Normally, you're going to be rolling these 5 dice to do your skill checks, but when you check your character against some of the skills, and you'll see how this works in the playthrough, you get to add certain dice based on what type of check it is that it's doing. So if we had to do this check, for example, I'd be able to grab these 2 dice, and if I wanted to, I could grab the dice from the sides here as well, because the ones for the specific skill has 2 successes on them on certain dice, and of course a lot of the ones. So it's kind of nice to have those, and it will have 1 of each of these successes on the dice on the sides of this. So the chances of rolling this particular skill is best on these dice and second best on the 2 dice that are on opposite sides of it. These, of course, only have 1 of each, which is not good. These have at least 2 of each, and these have 2 of those on 2 different sides. I hope that all made sense. Oh my gosh, that was a lot of talking. But just know that if you are working together, you could combine your skills and try to roll up different type of dice. Now, there's only a certain amount of dice you can ever add. You can't add a whole ton of dice to these rolls, and you'll see how that goes during the playthrough. I think we're pretty set up. There might be a few more things, but I think we're ready to go. We do have to give somebody the starting token, which is the person who has just recently done something that somebody else has asked them to do. Now, sadly, we're not going to be using it because we are only playing 1 player, so we don't need the starting token, but that's how you determine it. Or, of course, it's a friendly game. You can choose however you want to start with this token. You could do a roll-off. You could just nominate somebody, and this will not be passed around the table. Once you determine who is going to be the starting player, that person will remain the starting player unless there's something in the game that changes that. This game does have an app associated with it, or at least you can go to a web page, or you can even put it on your device if you're wishing to. And on top of that, you can make it so that everybody has access to this. So they all might have their own iPhones, but they all have access to this. And that's really important in this game, because one of the best ways to play is at least 2 players, because then you have like a story person and the person who's making choices. Playing solo, you're going to see everything, and it's not the end of the world, because it does obviously cover the things that I don't know exactly what's going to happen based on my choices. But it's a lot better if somebody's also able to read the flavor text to you and you have to choose without really kind of having any inkling of what's going on. It's a really neat system to be able to do that. But we're going to be playing as a solo person, so we are going to be seeing everything as we go, and we are starting a new game. And at this point, we have to choose which month we're starting, and we are starting in September. And at that point, it's now going to show me that we are starting on Sunday. So we'll have to put our token on Sunday. So this token will go right there. And on top of that, remember, we had this card that says that we have to, and once we get to 8, our game will probably be over according to this card maybe, or something of that nature. I'm going to take 2 tokens. It doesn't matter which ones you use, just as long as they're the same. We'll put that token here. And then since we are playing solo, we're going to count 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I probably didn't need to count because I know there's 7 days in a week, but I still counted anyway. I don't know why I did. So once this token reaches there, we'll have to resolve this card. That's how this timing thing works. And a lot of that will also be kind of tracked in the app, but at least you have a physical representation of what's going on the board as well. If you ever have more than 1 token that's going to be placed in a certain place, it's not the end of the world. You just put it right on top, and then you resolve them from top to bottom so that each thing is resolved once the time token actually touches there. So now that we're here and we got our time tokens where we are, we'll start our adventure. Before we take our first turn, I thought I'd give you a little bit of backstory about our character. It says that she is a resourceful kingfisher whose disposition and keen instincts have led her into and out of quite some trouble. Growing up an orphan in the streets of her hometown in Europe, she learned to rely and trust only herself, that is, until a stranger showed her a way out and offered her a new start in Galzyr. Now, each of the characters do have a neat little intro, and there also is an intro to the actual world itself, and it's all found on the back of that starting card. It's just wanted to give you a little sneak peek as to what we're getting ourselves into here. This game is divided into 2 different rounds, and there is 2 different phases. The first phase is our adventure phase, and in that we're going to be doing a travel action and we'll be doing a story as well. Then after that's done, we will do the calendar phase, which means that token will move 1, and that of course comes at the end of everybody's turn. So if you're playing with multiple people, everybody gets 1 adventure phase, and then you'll do the calendar phase. The first thing we do is travel, which means we're allowed to move up to 2 spaces. Remember, I have that super ability here that does allow me to move 3 if I ever wanted to, but then I have to discard this card. But I am not first off able to use that because I'm not on the board. And since whenever you're not on the board, you're not able to take a travel action. So since that's done, we're going to resolve a scene in our story moment. And the scene we're going to resolve is anything that's mandatory. And we do have our mandatory quest right here. It says start your adventure at 086. So you can either A, scroll up and down here until you find 86, which would take a while, or you can just type it in right here, 86. And we'll hit enter and go to that particular story moment. We'll start at 86. It says, standing at the top of the plank leading ashore, you view the busy docks below. You see different folks, more than you can count, carrying cargo, negotiating passage, or just loitering, shouting, laughing, living their lives. You don't see many river kingfish, but perhaps that's for the best, a fresh start. You raise your legs slowly. This short step means a lot. It means starting your life anew, leaving your troubled past behind. The past your new friend pulled you from. She should be waiting for you by the tavern, supposedly the worst the city has to offer. Will you move already? The otter captain shouts behind you. Or do you want to go back or something? At this point, we're going to move the adventurer's figure to Rheinstrom and step ashore and meet your friend. Here's the town of Rheinstrom. I'm going to place our figure right there in the docks. That's where I'm guessing I am because after all, we just got here. If there were ever any quests that were particularly in this place, we could choose to pick those up even though we just were placed there. And if you had anybody there that you wanted to trade with, you could also do that during your turn as well. But for now, we're just going to return to the app. And if you didn't start just like I did, you're able to place your character anywhere on the board at the beginning, unless, of course, you're isolated. Then there's a different rule for that. And you could place your character in any of the towns, being able to start collecting quests right off the bat if you wanted to. Now, of course, you can only ever hold 3 quests. If you have to abandon one, you'll have to do whatever it says on the bottom of the card, and we'll see how that goes during the playthrough. Now that we've got everything over there, we'll step ashore and meet our friend here. It says, walking through the seaside street of Rhinestrom, you think back to your friend. You couldn't have met her at a more opportune moment when it looked like your old ways had finally caught up with you. She helped you out and invited you here. You wonder why she did it. Compassion? Challenge? Just because? Whatever it was, her words and demeanor had an air of adventure to them, which made your little scheme seem insignificant. You figure that's what made you take the chance and trust her. You spot the tavern, Brewing Toad, and your friend. She's wearing a hood, but you can't mistake that beak. And when she finally sees you, she greets you warmly. Here, I brought you something. Welcome to Galzyr, Salia. At this point, we're going to give a random 150 card from the library to the adventurer. So at this point, like I said before, it'd be neat to have somebody reading this, because they could just reach in, not read, give a random 150 from the library. They wouldn't read that, they just give you the card. Also, we're going to give 281 from the library to the adventurer. So you'd pull out both those cards, and then you would just hand them to them. And at that point, then you would continue. So first, let's go grab those cards, and then we'll continue. So if you look here, we have cards 150, and there are a ton of them. So I'm just going to grab this one right here. Don't even know what it is, because you're not supposed to. We have found ourselves at a travel guide. Tourism and literature. So if those come up, we'll be able to do that. It says, written by world-famous author Okanakoban. This compendium lists the hottest attraction in Galzyr. From the bathhouse to theaters, Bouvier Publishing wishes you a lovely vacation. So if we ever see these in any of the things we're able to do, we're able to gain these abilities here. We can either get 1 success automatically and re-roll up to 1 die, or if we're doing an explore, we can roll up to 3 dice. So this is a really good one for recalling, exploring, and tourism literature. It costs 5 gold. We could also sell it if we wish to, if we ever get to a point where we don't have any. And interestingly enough, the travel guide, that's an awesome picture, and I'll show you why. It's because this game actually comes with this Welcome to Galzyr Lands of Adventure and Excitement travel guide. And it has all these things here. It shows you the map of the place, and it has all a little bit about each of the towns in here, which I could read, but I'm not going to for the playthrough. If you're interested in reading all that, pick up the game. I put a link to where you can get it in the description of this video, and I think I have it also in the unboxing as well, but it's kind of cool how there's all this in here. And then, of course, like I said, it was kind of neat because my adventure guide right here actually is that travel guide. That's really awesome. Oh my gosh. Attention to detail, super good. Now on top of that 150 card, I'm also going to get 281. So we're going to go through here, find card 281, and here it is. We have Nara. She is a, what is this, Eurasian Hoapi. 281, she's a roamer flight. Nara has traveled all over Galzyr and beyond for a living, taking to various tasks ranging from trivial to hopeless. Trivial to hopeless, I apologize. And if we ever have to use this skill in the check, we get +1 to it. It has sneak and intimidate, where we're able to roll 2 dice, and I have to discard this card after 5 turns on the 5 rounds of the game, or I mean 5 turns through the calendar phase, which is right down here. I can barely get the words out. So we're going to count 5 from here, and I'm just going to use these little pandas here. We're going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, place this down here, and then I'm going to place this on the card over next to where my character is. And so we have this character with us for at least another 5 turns. And notice this symbol right here. Remember, if I ever decide to use my special ability, I'm going to have to return companions with that symbol are going to be returned to them, and I believe that is the symbol for all companions. We'll have to return them back to the library. You have your wits, but to make it here, you'll need more than ruffling feathers, your Hope friend blabbers on as the 2 of you walk through the city market. Might have to try to make a good impression. Oh, the horror! Or perhaps pick up a book once in a while. You do know how to read, right? You stay quiet, not sure which parts were jokes, but Nara doesn't wait for your answer. Instead, she excuses herself to visit a nearby stall, which seems to offer camping equipment. Left alone for a moment, you look around the busy market, wondering about the foreign city you've ended up in. What are these folks like? So it says here, though, reminder, after an adventurer chooses an option, select before they resolve their skill check. So I have to select which option I want to do before I do my skill check here. First one is observe the folks at the market. That's a medium check. And the next one is recall what you know about Rhinestrom, which is an easy check. The first thing when considering what skill check we want to do is we want to check out the skills that we have right down here. Now we don't have anything in knowledge on our board here, but we do have one in survival, which means that we could roll this dice in place of one of the black dice and able to help us because it has two sides of the type of check we're looking for, which is knowledge. Or we could do that perception check where we have two dice in perception already we can roll, which is going to potentially have two different things on them. And we have a pink one as well on that side that could help us out, which is going to give us a way better chance than it would for this one. Now remember, that's a medium check and this is an easy check. That's the first thing we want to look at. Now let's check out our cards. We have Nara. Nara has sneak and intimidate, and it says on survival checks I get +1, so that is not going to help us at all. But we do have our travel guide. Our travel guide gives recall and explore. We're not exploring, but one of the words in the check was recall, which means we're going to be able to gain one automatic success and be able to re-roll one die if we want to. So it almost averages out a little bit onto which one we think is best. So it's all depending on what would benefit us, I think, the most. Another thing that could be influencing is the fact that it's easy and medium. Easy usually needs you only need about 1 to pass it. Medium means 2. There's also hard ones that need 3, and sometimes it's unknown and you don't know exactly what you're going to need to roll in order to do it. Like I said, I think we're going to go with this. Now that means we get to use 5 dice. You always roll 5 dice. So you start with the 5 base dice and they have 1 symbol on each side. Then you can replace them with other dice based on your skills. I want to replace 2 of these with these 2 because there's 2 sides that have multiple of those perception on them. We also want to replace 1 with this dice because it has perception on 2 different sides. We also have this skill as well, which is survival, but there is no perception on this dice, so you don't want to choose that one because it's not adjacent to perception. So we have these dice right here. We're going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We're going to roll them up and see how it goes. We've got all these dice coming in. I got 3. At this point, we can choose to re-roll. You are allowed 1 re-roll per test, but when you do the re-roll, you have to re-roll all the dice. Once you've decided on your dice and whether or not you want to use a re-roll, the next thing you want to do is check your cards. Now remember, we do have this travel guide, which is going to help us with recall, but we're not doing that. We're just doing the observation one, so we're only going to get 3 successes, but I think that'll be okay. Remember, for the medium, it usually recommends you have at least 2 successes, so I think we're going to be okay. Sadly, none of these dice helped us out. We'll go to observe the market, folks. Now notice I didn't click on it until after I rolled the dice. You don't click on this until after you roll the dice to see how you do. So we've looked at this. It says, remember, a reminder, we're going to use these adventurers' best available dice pool due to their current skills. Reminder, also some of the cards might influence their skill checks. We're going to reveal our outcomes at this point. We do have 2 to 3. Another thing, once you roll the dice, you do not want to move the dice or change them in any way because we may have to resort back to these dice even after we select this option. Something else may come up. So we are going to click the 2 to 3. We were successful. So we're going to continue on what it says here. It says the market is even busier than the docks were. You look at the plethora of different folks do business. There are plenty of polecats, but you also spot lemurs, montours, ocelots, ducks, and many more. However, your inquisitive gaze sets on a group of armed vultures slowly approaching, clearly looking for something in the crowd or someone. Something in their forceful demeanor causes every instinct you've developed over the years to scream danger. We're going to hit continue. It says here, interrupting her haggling, you point the vultures out to Nora. Those thugs again, she says, voice grim. Chased me earlier. They likely after you too. One of the vultures seems to spot something and they start to wade through the crowds towards you. We should get out of here, Asalia. Reminder, after the adventurer chooses an option, select it before they resolve the skill check. So at this point, we're going to sneak through the crowd or convince the folks around you to help you. So let's again look at our skills and see what would be the best idea. Remember, these are both medium at this point. And I completely said the wrong thing. What I should have done is I get to pick which one I want, see what it is, and then I get to decide if I want to, then I get to roll my dice. So we'll either decide to sneak away or convince the crowd to help you. We do have some of these skills. I do not have any cards that are going to help me with any of these at all, except for Nara's Sneak, which allows me to re-roll 2 dice. So I think the best possibility here is going to be to sneak. So we're going to hit sneak. It says here, reminder to use our skill dice and also these. Now we don't reveal the outcomes, that's what it is, until after we roll our dice. So let's roll them up and see what happens. Here again we have our 5 core dice, and we have to choose which dice we want to bring in. This one has double thievery on it, so we're going to keep that one. And these 2 are going to have thievery on each side. This one is not going to help us at all, so we're going to remove 3 of these dice and replace them with these. At this point we'll roll them up and see how this test goes. We got 1. I don't like that. We're going to use our reroll to reroll every one of these dice. You have to pick them up and roll all of them. You only get 1 chance to do it. That was terrible. We got none. At this point, Nara can re-roll 2 dice, this one and this one. We're going to re-roll these 2 dice and hope we get some successes here. This is ridiculous. Let's see how we do. We got 2. Oh my gosh, that was the hardest 2 successes I've ever gotten in my life. At this point, now we'll reveal our outcomes. We did get 2 to 3, just barely. Oh my goodness, that was ridiculous. It says here, you dive into the crowd and you do the best to avoid the vulture's eyes as you escape the market. They catch sight of you a few times but cannot keep up. Eventually, you manage to lose them completely. They are a local upstart gang, Nara whispers as you at a safe distance, while you watch the vultures frantically look for you. You can probably guess why they're after us. Yes, unfortunately, you've crossed many folks in the past, and some are trying to get back at you even here. And now you've got Nara involved too. You'd have to deal with this before you can begin your new life in earnest. I have some friends in Tashuni who could help, she says. Let's go. I earn 2 prestige for that, and I get return friends in need. I'm going to return that from the adventure to the library and give card 222 from the library to the adventure. And notice now it says end of scene. That is the end of our first scene. That was a pretty long scene, but it is our beginning quest. So as you can see, there's a lot of cool things that happen just in 1 turn. We'll move our prestige marker up 2 because of that. And then we'll take our 111 card and place this back into the library. So it is going to go back into the box where all those other cards are. It's not going to be like any kind of a discard thing. And we're getting a card called Friends in Need. It says here, your past caught up with you once more when some vulture thugs tried to catch you. You need to find a way to deal with them in order to live your life freely. According to Nara, there's a group in Tashuna, which can help you. Now this one cannot be abandoned as well, and it says to seek aid. We're going to go to 090 when we're in Tashuni, and see the symbol here. That does mean that more than one person could help us. So if we're playing either competitive or cooperative with other people, if they're in the same place, we could work together on that quest and hopefully do a better job than I almost did not with my terrible dice rolling. And with that completed, we will hit end of scene. I do want to mention here that that particular icon right there means that it's only going to be affecting the active player. There are a couple other icons. One would be affecting you and anybody that's helping you with it. And there is also one that would affect everybody in the, it affects absolutely everyone. So things that happen in this book could affect everybody even on your turn. So we'll go to end of scene and move into the next player's turn. But since we're playing solo, we'll just move our marker to Monday and start a new round. After moving it on the app, we do also have to move it on the board because that's where we have all of our different markers that could eventually be affected by where this particular marker is on the time track. At this point, we'll move into our adventuring phase yet again. The first thing we can do is travel, which means we can move 2 spaces. I could, like I've said before, use my card to move 3, but I don't think that's going to be wise because I would lose my companion. One thing I want to mention that I didn't get correctly during the setup is these location cards are all considered one place. So you can put these quest tokens anywhere as far as I understand, because this all is considered one space when it comes to moving around inside the city. Of course, all these have specific parts or stories that go along with it, but we're not going to be doing that. We're trying to still continue on with this quest, and there aren't any quests here to pick up. And sadly, there aren't any in Teshnun either. So we're just going to run over there, hopefully get that quest done, and then run around and try to find another quest as fast as we can. We're going to move 2 spaces, 1, 2, and these nodes are going to be depicting how you move across the board. Now we are in a new area here, and each one of these has a different symbol on it, which it signifies the type of terrain that you're moving into. Our particular one is going to be the grasslands, but there are also mountains up here. There's settlements right here, which is one of the pictures found on this card here. Some of the ones you don't see are hills. There is a forest one down here, and those make a difference for one reason, and that is now that we're done with our 2 movement, we are going to move into our story round where we're going to resolve a scene from the Book of Adventures. Now, if you notice, we don't have any quests, we only have this one right here, and we're not here to be able to start this story moment. So what we do is we're going to have to take a card from the top of this deck, and normally the person that's in charge of your story would be the one drawing this card. We're going to reveal the card, and it's going to have all these different types of terrain on it, plus a top part here that is going to be different all the time. And this one says Monday. If it is on Monday, we're going to read 118. Otherwise, we would go down to where our particular one is, which is grassland, and go to 53. We're in luck. It actually is Monday, so we get to read the Monday one, which is 118. 118 states, late one night, as you're out and about, a white polecat gracefully steps before you, flanked by a group of goons. You turn to steer away from the sinister trio, but behind you, a whole band of thugs emerges from the shadows, forming a living wall that traps you between the 2 groups. I am Tunic, an intelligence officer of Galzyr, the polecat offers, as she shows you a piece of parchment. It bears a completely faithful and detailed drawing of your face. We have learned that you are a spy in service of Ramshin, plotting conspiracies against our empire. So if you value your life, you will come quietly. Turk's underlings pull out cruel-looking weapons. At this point, we have to decide a yes or no question, and that's based on the tags that we have. The tag that we're looking for on all of our cards, or on our character itself, or potentially in any of the status cards that we may be gaining along the way, is tired. We do not have that. Do you have that tag? No, we do not. We'll click on that. And now it says right here, we can either convince her you're a double agent, which is hard, and it's going to use our communication ability. The other one is medium, and that is going to be our might, which is where we're going to fight our way through the underlings. Or we can pay her off with 12 gold. We know we don't have 12 gold, so that's not going to happen. So we have to decide if we want to fight our way through the underlings or try to convince her we are a double agent. I'm going to try to convince her. I know it's hard, but what the heck, huh? I think that sounds really awesome that we might be a double agent. So we're going to click on that, and after we do that, we're going to have to reveal the outcomes. But first, we have to roll our dice. Here again are all the possible dice. This one is not going to help, and this one is not going to help because they're not adjacent to the skill we're trying to use. These 2, on the other hand, notice they are adjacent to that skill. This is the symbol we're trying to find, so I'm going to replace 2 of these dice with those 2. Now, I don't think I have anything that is going to help me with this at all, so we're just going to hope we get a good roll here and see what happens. This could be the downfall of my character. We'll see how it goes. Oh, look at that. I've got 2. But it's hard, so that means we're going to need 3. But 2 still might do it. I don't think it's going to. I wish I could just re-roll the ones I'd want to, but that's not how a re-roll works. The re-roll is all or nothing. Oh, we're going to take a chance. We're going to take a chance. We're going to re-roll all of them. Let's see what it goes. Oh, we should have done that. We only got 1. So let's go type it into the app. We'll now reveal our outcomes. And would 2 have done it? No, 2 would not have done it anyway. We did need 3 or 4. So we got 0 to 2. Let's click on that and see what happens. Oh, my goodness. You try to convince the polecat you are a double agent who is loyal to Galzyr. Your plan falls apart when she asks you who your handler is. You make something up about working for a one-winged hawk with 2 peg legs. Not buying it, Turek orders her underlings to abduct you. You are transported to a safe house where Turek interrogates you across several hours. Each time you fail to deliver a satisfactory answer about Rumsjen plans, which are really not privy to her, her thugs dump barrels of frigid ice water over you. Oh, what a horrible way to get cold. When it dawns on Turek that you are not a spy, she rips fur from her ears. Her thugs dump you back where they found you, along with something to remember the whole affair by. So this is going to happen to me. It says give 56 from the library to the adventurer. Then give card 249 from the library to the adventurer. If unable, just grab a random 200. Now this is going to happen to everyone. Right now it says return drawn event 78 to the library. And that is this card right here, the one we were able to find our Monday thing on. And then we're going to take 251 from the library and shuffle it into the event deck. So this is going to probably, if in theory, it could expand on what has happened just right now, but it's not going to happen till later. So let's take care of all of that. We'll start by taking card 251 and put it in here. Now, we're not going to put it at the bottom. We're just going to shuffle this up because the app did tell us to shuffle the deck. So there we go. We got our deck all truffle shuffled and ready to go. We've gotten card 56 and 249. 249 is a wanted poster. High self-confidence can be a dangerous weapon. Only Caridia can use this card. That's not us, so we can't actually use this. I still get it in the inventory, and I can sell this if I want to. The other one we got is freezing because all the water we got dumped on us. Thanks to your recent adventures, you are cold to the bone and walking ice cubes. In skill checks, the number of dice you can use is reduced by 2 until you hit the warm. If I ever get this warm one, I can discard it. Otherwise, I have to deal with this for 3 turns. We'll place down a turn marker 1, 2, 3 spaces away, and then we'll put this one on the card so that when you get there, we'll be knowing to get rid of this freezing condition. Yuck, that's terrible. This is the end of scene, so we'll just click on that, and we'll move into the next day by going to Tuesday. And that will move our time track down 1. And at this point, we're going to move right into Shune, just like that. And that way we can do our story moment from our card here, Friend in Need Part 2. We're going to go to number 90. According to our card right here, we have number 90. It says, Violet Arms mercenary camp lies deep within the ruined town. As you approach the guard post, you eye the imposing wall that still stands on this side. You were never fond of such structures in the past, seeming restrictive, even in the inside, and taxing to fly over while carrying heavy gear. But you've come here to seek allies as the trouble of your past remains unsolved. So our first question is, do we have the roamer tag? Yes, we do have it. It is found on Nara. Nara has the roamer tag right there. So we're going to press the yes button on that. At Nara's behest, you approach the 2 guards and ask to see their leader, Guru, but they just laugh. What's a squirt like you want with him? The magpie wearing blue face paint asks. Yeah, the boss is busy, the purple-clad coyote continues, pointing at the wall. Show us what you can do first. Climb that, and we'll let you pass. You glance back at Nara. She nods, ready to help you. So we can either choose to climb the wall, which is hard. We do have 1 survival, and we also, I think it's something from Nara. We do get a automatic success from Nara for doing a survival check. The other option is we could intimidate the guards, and I do have a couple dice that might help me with that. Should we go for another hard test? I mean, it worked real well for us last time. So, let's give it a shot. We already have 1 success, so technically it is a medium check, just like it is for the intimidation. So let's try the climb the wall part. We're going to go roll our dice and reveal our outcomes. Like I mentioned, Nara does give us the 1 success automatically from our survival checks, and I have 1 yellow die I can use. There's nothing else that's going to help me, so we're going to remove 1 of these and roll them up. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yep, that's right. Let's roll these up. Hopefully we get another 2 successes here. That's my hope. We got 1. That's not going to help us. We need to get 2, so we're going to take our dice and we're going to roll them again. Let's see what we get. Come on, something good. Oh, we only got 1 again. No, we totally failed this too. We're going to reveal our outcomes. I'm sure they're going to be tragic. We only got 2 successes here. So let's hit that button. You try to do their bidding and climb, but you can't find any purchase on the weather-smooth stone, even with Nara's help. After a few increasingly frustrated attempts, you are forced to give up. Looks like the boss was mistaken, the coyote says, shaking his head. But before you're able to respond, he shoos you toward one of the tents. He wants to see you? Go ahead, Nara says. I'll wait here. And we'll go ahead and continue. That was horrible. We still get to continue. That's half the battle here. Our next part says, inside the tent you see a long gray falcon who introduces himself as Guru. I heard about Ramstun, Asilia. He says, those upstarts have caused trouble for us as well, so I'll take care of them sooner or later. You note that he's well informed and he smirks. I like to stay informed. Now what should we do with you? You insist on taking part, which seems to humor him. Ha! The adventurer's spirit. Very well. Early today, we found some equipment, including a coded letter, which I suspect to be theirs. Show me what you can do. I can either crack the code or search the equipment. We're going to go crack that code. I don't think I have anything that's going to help me with this, but you know what? It's easy. I have to at least get 1 success, right? 1 success? Come on, crack the code. That's just what we're going to do. I'm done with the hard tests. We're going to roll the same dice we just did. This is next to our skill check that we're attempting to perform. So we're going to roll this up, hopefully get at least 1 or 2 of these. We got 2, it looks like, so I'm good. I'm not going to re-roll this. We'll reveal our outcomes, and I'm sure it's 1 or 2. That's fantastic. We did get 2. We've never gotten above this. I've never seen what a good one is, like one that's like above what you're supposed to do. It says, you have some experience with secret messages, and you inspect the letter closely, trying to figure out a pattern. It takes a while, but you're quite certain it's in order to infiltrate the mercenary camp that awaits instructions. Guru looks thoughtful as he considers the news, but before he says anything, you hear shouting from outside. Oh no, what could be happening? It says, out of the tent, a mercenary runs to Guru and you. He leads you back to the guard post, which has turned to a mess. The coyote lies wounded on the ground, and Nara or the magpie are nowhere to be seen. Boss, the coyote shouts, she was with the vultures, and they took Nara. Guru looks around with a grim look on his face before turning to you. If we didn't have a common enemy before, we do now. They attacked my camp, and they'll pay for that. At this point, I'm going to have to return the Nara card from the adventure to the library. That's bad. Do you have a mercenary tag? Partners tags do not count. Okay, so no, I do not have a mercenary tag, and that is a good thing to mention. I didn't think about that. If you are doing the skill check with somebody, you can't use their tags. They can help you with dice and things like that, but not the actual tags, only the ones you have. I do not have mercenary, and I don't actually have anything except this cold here, this freezing card. I totally forgot to do this. It says skill checks, the number of can only be is reduced by 2. I forgot to roll 2 less dice when I made my skill checks, but we've already gone forward to the app. That was my fault. I apologize. We're going to continue on there. I do not have the mercenary tag. We're going to go on and see what it says here. It says, I will send one of ours with you. If you want to help, come to Hezembi. I bet those overconfident bastards are taking Nara to the base there. I'm going to crush them and send a message to others who try to do the same. So we do get 1 prestige out of all this mass failure and out of controlness. And then I'm going to do all the things it says here. I'm going to return Friend in Need from the Adventure Library. I'm going to be given a random 149 from the library to the adventure. And then I'm going to give 233 from the library to the adventure. And remember, I have to return 281 back to the library. I've put all the cards back, and I've grabbed card 223, which is Friend in Need Part 3. Nara was captured by your vulture enemies and taken to Hazambi. Thankfully, the Violet Arm mercenary promised to help you assault the gang's base. You should meet them there and go save your friend. This cannot be abandoned, and I have to get down to this city right here. I also get a 149 card. It's random, so we're just going to take this one right here. We've got ourselves Ufu. He's a careless mercenary, a mercenary trainee. Ufu is always eager to fight. He is chaotic, but has learned to turn it into an advantage. Anytime I do an attacking or a fight skill check here, I get a +1 to my successes. And during a fight, I get to reroll up to 5 and delay 1 of them. And I'm able to spend 4, I think that's gold to delay 2, otherwise discard. So, okay, so that means this, we get 3, and I could delay this if I wish to. This is the first time we've seen delay. The way it works is you're going to take this time token that has to do with the character that it has or the item or anything like that and basically move it 1 space away from the time marker, meaning you have a longer time to interact and use that particular item, person, or anything that has to do with the delay. Now notice here, if he gets in a fight, he gets to delay 1, which is probably because he likes to fight, so he's excited to be able to keep on fighting. The other one is I could spend 4 gold to delay him 2, otherwise I'm going to discard him when he gets to the end of the track, is how I'm guessing I understand that. So we'll see how this all plays out. I might keep him for a while, or maybe we only need him for the 3 time that we have. We'll see how it goes. That is the end of the scene, so we'll move this one this way. This is our freezing effect, and this now is our new ally. Those are the 2 tokens we have out there. Now I have an interesting dilemma. I could fly to this city and get there in 1 turn. I could move 1, 2, 3, but then I would lose my character. Something tells me we're about to fight a gang of people, and I think I want to keep him. So we're just going to move the 1, 2 here, which is going to be the extent of our movement, and then we're going to have to draw one of these cards and see what we get. Right here it says Sunday. It is not Sunday this time. It's Wednesday. So then we're going to start going down here. We have settlement, grasslands, forest, hills, and mountains. Settlement, grasslands, forest, hills. So we're in the hills. This tag did not come up in the card, and I don't know if too many of them are in the card. So instead, we're going to do the hills, which is going to be 154. No matter what, we have to do a story moment, and we just don't have any quests or anything that's going to persist while we're standing in this particular location. So that's why we drew one of these random ones. So let's go to the app. We'll type in number 154 right there and see what we come up with. It says, on a winding road through hilly terrain, your path forks, divided by a sign. Handwritten in sloppy white paint with an arrow, the sign claims that help is needed to fix a well, and a hot meal will be given as salary for the work. The sign also points in the same direction that a farm is at the end of the road. I think we are going to do this. If we can get a warm meal, maybe that can get rid of our freezing condition. We'll visit the farm. That'll be the deal here. Heading down the road, you know you are growing closer when you see fields of grazing livestock and rows of crops. At the end of the road is a manor with a polecat out front looking at a topless well. Introducing yourself to the polecat smiles widens, and when you confirm that you're here to help with the well, it is missing its covering and pulley. Peering down into the dark depths of the well, you can see the whole broken upper structure lodged to the well's sides. A rope tied to the fallen pulley is held by the polecat. Been trying to haul the thing up here. When it got stuck, my cousin was brave enough to climb down there, but he slipped and fell in the water. He is in bed resting now from the cold he caught. If you climb, each light and night vision tag gives you +2 successes. I can either climb down the well or drag the pulley up from the well. Now, I don't have any ability to do well on these fight skills, and I don't only have one die that could help me with this. Though, I do have our new companion that's really good at these potential strength type skills here, those might skills. So I think we are going to try to drag the pulley up from the well. These are all the dice and all the cards that are going to affect our skill check here. We have, these two are on the sides of our might check, so we're going to get a couple extra from them. I'm going to remove these 2 dice because that, now remember our freezing condition, I'm actually remember this time. I'm going to remove 2 dice from that, meaning we only get to roll 3 dice. Now I get that +1 right here, and I'm not doing a fight check, so I don't get to re-roll up to 5, but I still do get the +1 for the might. So let's roll these up and hopefully we get at least 1 success. We got one, that's 2, and this is a medium, so I'm sure that 2 will be just fine. Let's continue on. I don't want to press my luck. I did have this card, the wanted poster, but it says that only this character can use this card, so I don't believe I'm able to take advantage of these tags on this at all. So I'm not able to use that one. And like I said, the 1 should be just enough. We'll click here and reveal our outcomes. We did get 2. Like I said, 2 should be enough. There we go. We clicked it up here and see what we have seen. In unison, you and the polecat heave on the rope in several intense bursts. And when the metal scrapes against stone, the pulley slips free, and you pull it topside. It is horribly dinged up, with parts of it having broken off and fallen into the water. I would have liked to come up without being so dinged up, but at least we got it back, the polecat half smiles. As payment, the farmer fixes you up with a healthy meal, even throws in some gold. He waves you goodbye as you leave the farm. We get to gain 2 gold. We give 59 from the library to the adventure and return the drawn event to the bottom of the deck. So we're just going to take this, put it at the bottom, and we're going to get card 59 and 2 gold. And that's going to be the end of our scene. At the end of our scene, we will move this token 1 space and remove the green card that has the green symbol from our area. And lucky for us, that is our freezing condition. We are no longer frozen, thank goodness. And we received this card, Vigorous. This one says, restless, upbeat. You are so full of energy that you find it hard to stay still, searching for ways to exhaust your vigor somewhere. During your travel, you may discard this to get +1 movement. If you're exhausted, I have to discard this. Or if I ever do a force, intimidate, or run action, I can discard it, or test, I should say, if it's one of the parts of the test. I can discard this to get 1 success. And notice there's no time on there, so I just get to keep this, of course, unless I get the exhausted status. One thing I forgot to do from, I think it was 2 turns ago, was I was supposed to gain 1 prestige. Being done with the calendar phase, we'll go to our next phase and move right into our city here. And at this point, that's our movement. We're now going to do our quest here. But before we do, we moved into the city that has a particular quest. So we're going to grab the quest from that city here. It says, I need a trustworthy courier. Okay. Now, when you play this with other players, only you get to read this side. If you want to show the others, you totally can. But this is yours to reveal if you wish to. All they're ever going to see is this part of the card. So let's see what we have here. It says Bag of Trouble. Excellent. You're perfect for the routine operation. The less known your face is in my field, the better. Take this bag and deliver it to my colleague in the ranger station. The ranger shouldn't be a problem as long as you keep a low profile. Radivis the Steep Polecat, Reunion Courier. So I have to visit that location, and then I'm able to do this story mode once I get there. Now notice down here it says place on the notice board. If you ever have too many quests or you ever want to get rid of a quest, you do what it says down here to get rid of it. And this is the first one we've actually seen that I can abandon if I want to. So in this case, if I decide to get more quests, I could abandon this and put it back over with the rest of the quests. And if that puts more than 3 quests over there, that's okay. You could have to have a minimum of 3 quests available out on the board, but you can always have more than that available according to the game. Now, because we only have 2 available to us at the moment, we're going to take our next quest here, and it says, it's actually in the same place. My old father has gone missing. Please, I need somebody to help find him. All right, well, maybe we'll pick that up, but for now, we're just going to move on to our actual quest we're here for. And that is quest 94, our friend in need number 3, 94. It says here, approaching the designated meeting spot at the outskirts of the city, you see the violent armed mercenaries already in position, ready to storm the Vulture's gang's base. You would like to run away like in the past, but this time it's different. There's a lot on the line. You see Guru as well, observing the sizable building in the distance and the several guards posted at the main entrance. You ask if he has any instructions. Go in and do things your way, the Grey Falcon says, smiling his wicked smile. Isn't that what you adventurers do? Yeah, that sounds about right. We'll move on your mark, Asalia, he adds before turning away. Seems like another test. You turn to the building. How should you get in? I can either unlock the door or fight our way through. Oh my goodness. Fight our way through is hard, but again, I get that 1 success and I get the 5 rerolls if I want to, or I can try to unlock the side door. And I don't have anything that's going to help me unlock anything from how I understand at least what I have here. So I think it might be best just to fight our way in. Even though it's a hard test, we get the auto success and I get to reroll up to 5 dice. So that'll be pretty sweet. We're going to fight our way through. We get our 5 dice back. We're no longer freezing, which is fantastic. I get my automatic skill here. I'm going to remove 2 of the dice in order to use these 2 dice, which should help us out. We need to get, I have 1 success. Let's see how many more we can get out of these dice. We got 1. That's 2. That's not good. I'm going to do a full reroll with that because I'm allowed 1 full reroll each turn. We got, oh my gosh, we got nothing. So I can reroll up to 5. Well, I guess we're going to reroll up to 5. Oh my goodness, this is absolutely terrible. We got nothing again. Maybe I at least get 1. No, I got Well, apparently I am the greatest fighter this land has ever known. About the only good thing that came out of that is I get to delay him 1 because we did do our reroll for the 5, so I get to delay him 1 for that. But we only got 1 success, and that's the one that came from him. Let's reveal our outcomes. That roll was on a scale of 1 to horrible. That was probably a horror roll because it wasn't horrible. We at least got 1, but as you can see, that is not going to help us too much. We'll click here and see what happens. It says you give the signal to begin the attack, but before you knew it, the mercenaries have already charged ahead, leaving you in the dust. Oh my gosh, that's awesome. Frantically, you rush after them and try to join the raging battle between the mercenaries and the guards and their reinforcements, but you aren't able to progress, getting pushed around by the tides of battle, leaving you no choice but to wait until the mercenaries clear their way for you. Eventually, they gain the upper hand, and you manage to get in. I can't believe this. It says next, you're finally inside, only to notice the base is mostly empty. The back door swings open. Everyone either fights at the entrance or has already fled. Rushing to the door, you see a lone vulture running in the distance. Only he isn't exactly alone. He's carrying someone, and you still can't mistake the long, currently tied back beak. It's Nara, and she's being taken to the city. I am going to run after Nora, I think, is run after the vulture or follow the vulture from a distance. Well, following the vulture from the distance would probably be the best plan, but remember, I've got this cool card right here, which allows me, when I use a run, I can discard this to get 1 of these automatically. So I only need 3, and that's a survival check. I do have 1 dice I could use to help me with the survival check if I want to, but I think that's about all I got. Otherwise, I could attempt to follow him from a distance, which is also hard. And in this instant, I only get the 2 blue dice and 1 pink die that's going to help me with our test. Let's run after him. What have we got to lose? It's hard. We should be able to do this, right? With my track record, we'll see how it goes. All right, you thought that last test was a debacle? Let's try this one. This is going to be super good. This is a hard test, so I need to get at least 3 of these successes. And as usual, we got nothing. We got absolutely nothing. So we're going to try again. We're going to roll it up and see what we get this time. We did get 2. This is perfect. I have 2 symbols right here. This was one of them before I accidentally knocked it over. And I'm going to use my card, which I can discard during a run tag or test there. So I'm going to be able to get 3 successes out of this. Can you believe it? We actually, I think, passed one. We'll reveal our outcomes, and hopefully it's 3 or more here. Come on. Oh, there it is. 3. We got 3. Oh, this is going to be fantastic. Oh, I got to hit a little bit harder maybe. There we go. Hit that button. It says here, you run after the vulture and manage to keep up even when he leads you into a narrow side streets. When you come up to the more open space near the docks, however, he takes one look back before unceremoniously dropping Nara and flying off by himself. You stop and go untie your friend. We'll continue. Thanks, Nara says, her beak finally free again. I must have talked them to the edge of their sanity back there. A little more and I could have escaped, but thanks anyway. She keeps talking slowly. She's definitely all right. Unlike her, the sounds of fighting seem to have quieted, and you spot the Violet Arms banner in the distance, raised above the base. One escaped, but this matter should now be resolved. Nara pulls back her hood and smiles at you. You know, I planned to make you my sidekick at first, but you're clearly meant to have your own adventure, aren't you? Feeling more free than ever, you nod and turn to the road, your friend at your side. Finally, a new life, a new adventure awaits. We earn 1 prestige, which I'm not going to forget. That will bring us up to 4 prestige points. We're going to return Friend in Need to 223 from the adventurer to the library, and I'm going to be given 297 from the vault to the adventurer. And if I had a person helping me, that partner would also earn 1 prestige. So during a cooperative game, that'd be fantastic to have people help each other in these quests. Of course, during a competitive game, that still would have been okay because you would have hopefully had some help there, and maybe with somebody else's help, I could have had the 4 success outcome, and maybe that would have been better. But where it stands right now, we do get our 1 prestige. I'm going to gain 297 and put back 223. So a few things are going to happen. The first is we got Nara back, which is pretty cool. I'm going to put one of our time tokens on that, and it's on a 5, which is interestingly going to go past the end of the game, which means we'll probably be able to keep her into the future game that we have. I have to discard this because we used it for that run test, which actually worked out really well. We'll put that back into the library. We are going to go into the calendar phase, meaning we're going to move to Friday and see what happens in the future. We're gonna soon lose one of our companions, but that's okay. I think it'll be just fine. And as you can see, this is where Nara's token is. So unless that goes back here, we'll probably be putting her with our other cards at the end of the game, meaning she'll be coming back out. Of course, if we ever use this card, we would lose all our companions. I don't know how excited I am about this card. This is kind of cool, but obviously it's only good if you're really kind of a loner type character. Moving into the adventuring phase here, I'm allowed to move 2 spaces. The first thing I can do is grab this quest right here, which I think we're going to do. You can grab these, even if the quest was here and we move 2 spaces, we could move 1, 2. As long as you're able to be moving through or stop on it, you're able to pick up and trade and do things along the way in your journey. We're here, we're going to grab this quest. It is going to be this one right here. Let's see what we have found for our quest here. It says, Lost Relative. My dear father, Ramsek, left for Meritur some time ago and hasn't come back. Unfortunately, I have many rehearsals and performances I am obligated to attend, so I can't leave for Meritur myself. He hasn't been the same since the incident, and I worry sometimes I'm worried something has happened to him. Please bring him home. Samaria, the Scarlet Macaw actress. So again, if we decide to get rid of it, we'd put it back in the notice board, but all we have to do is go back to Meritum. We have to visit the station. And because we were able to grab that quest, we'll take the next one from the front of the box, and this one is going to be into Shuni. And it says here, we recognize your help in finding one of our members who hasn't returned from her assignment. Violet Arms Mercenaries. Oh, that's kind of cool. So they're coming back in some of the quests. I'm going to place this token up here on that particular place, and now we're able to move those 2 spaces. I could move 3 if I wanted to, but it's actually not going to help me because I'm going to move 1, 2 here. 3 would have just put me there, or I could have got to Teshu and grabbed that other quest if I wanted to. But I think we're just going to move 1, 2 like this. And remember, I could have stayed here and not done anything and taken advantage of one of these story points out on these cards if I wanted to. But we're going to keep on going. We're going to move 1, 2 just like that. And now we're going to draw a random event from here and see what we have found. Is it Saturday? It is not. It is Friday. It's almost Saturday. Instead, we're going to go to the actual place we are, which is, again, we're in the hills. So we're going to check out quest number 208. Your travel through the hills today have been an entertaining one. For hours on and off, a red-tailed hawk has been practicing daring and dazzling aerial maneuvers above you. The show turns grim when the bird wobbles and falls to the earth. With all the uneven terrain of the hills, it makes it hard to see where they landed and takes you some time to find the crash site. "Help me!" the hawk gurgles while his wing, bent at a terrible angle, twitches. Between gasps, he tells you his name is Ektor, and that he was practicing formations that an old-fashioned hawks use to impress future spouses. After rambling about how he loves someone named Weir, he tells you that he has a cabin nearby with medical supplies. Do you have a surprise tag? We do not have any surprise on any of our cards here, so we do not have that. We are going to hit no. If you recall, each first aid and medical tag gives you +2 successes here. I don't have either of those, so I can either recall how to treat wounds, which is medium, or I can explore the area for the cabin, or we can just leave him there. I love how they always have the option of just saying, no, I'm not too worried about this. I'm just going to keep going. No, of course we're going to help this guy. So I can either recall in order to treat wounds. I don't think I have anything that is going to be able to help me with recall. Except I do have one. Oh, check this out. I've got that travel guide. So I can recall I get +1 success and I get to reroll up to 1 die. That's going to be awesome. Or if we decide to, I could explore the area for the cabin, which I have right down here, and it allows me to reroll up to 3 dice. If we look here, I'm going to be able to take advantage of at least 1 dice in each of those tests. I think I'll try to... I'm a nurse. I'm going to try to help them out. I know I probably could treat wounds. Okay, I think I could. Hopefully the bird could treat wounds too. We'll give it a shot. I'm going to recall how to treat wounds. Now, of course, I don't have the first aid or medical, so I don't get the +2 stars. Looking more closely at my cards, there is an option to maybe do that explore the area for the cabin, because I do get 1 star automatically, but this one gives me 1 star and a reroll, so that's why I think we'll go with the actual try to actually help this person. I'm going to try to recall how to help his wounds. I do get the yellow die. The yellow die is adjacent to the check we're trying to do, which is our knowledge. So we're going to roll these up and see how it goes. I need knowledge. I've got 1 here. I could reroll up to 1 die and I get 1 success. So right now we're at 2, which is just enough we need to be able to do this. In theory, I'm just going to reroll this die. I'm not going to use my full reroll because I'm afraid I wouldn't get any then. So reroll this one. Maybe we get something. We did not. We only got the 2 successes, which is still good enough. It would have been neat to actually get a whole bunch of successes and see what the really super good one was. We'll click here and we'll reveal our outcomes. We're going to have 2. We'll click on that. And it says here, panic clouds your mind, but through the distress, you feebly grasp some aspects of first aid. You take up sticks and cloth from your pack and stint the wing, an effort which causes him great pain. You are scared that you might lose him as he drifts in and out of consciousness or awareness. Ektor regains coherency long enough to thank you for selfless tending to his wounds and offers you to take a spare pair of goggles as a humble thank you. Before you can respond, he passes out without a worrying gargle. You prop him up against a rock and let him recover. Your soul is stiffened with concern and shock. You saved his life, but you are not sure if your patch job will be enough to save his wing. He may never fly again. Oh, that's actually super sad. I thought I was pretty good at first aid. We do earn 1 prestige, bringing our prestige up to 5. You may swap one of your skill marks for perception skill mark, which is kind of funny because I already have full perception, so that's not going to help us. I have to give card 54 from the library to the adventurer, which is going to be our shocked card. Stunned and weary, your mind is haunted by your latest dreadful experiences, making you unable to fully focus on any task at hand. You can only wish you had acted differently. Oh, that's sad. In skill checks, you cannot use your skill marks matching the check. Oh, that's absolutely horrible. But it's going to last 3 turns. That's like the rest of the game. Barf. All right. Then I'm going to return this to the bottom of the event deck, and that's going to end our scene. We'll place our shocked condition 1, 2, 3 spaces away. That's awesome. That's going to be the end of our turn. We'll go into the calendar phase, which means we will move to Saturday, meaning our character here is going to be discarded unless I want to spend 4. And that way I can delay him 2 spaces, which would bring him 1, 2 to Monday. And then when I get to there, I'd have to pay again to keep him going. I think we are just going to discard him. I'm hoping that's not a bad idea. So we are going to discard, which means we'll put this back into the library at 149. Having completed the calendar phase, we'll move into our next turn. We are 2 spaces from the place we're attempting to get to, Muratu. We're going to move 1, 2, and see what we can do. We can either go to the ranger station or we can do one of our quests, which we have here. I think we are going to do that. Which one do? I either do Lost Relative or I can do Bag of Trouble. I have both of these. I think I want to do the Bags of Trouble. Let's give that a shot. Because I'm kind of a bird. I kind of fly things places. We're going to go to 297. Now, I do have 12 gold, and in case you're wondering what you can do with gold, you can buy items when you're at some of the places, but our ranger station doesn't have any type of way to probably buy anything. It's only going to be if you're at like a market or something. So let's go to our lost relative, or sorry, our Bags of Trouble, number 297. 297 states, with the mysterious bag in tow, you enter the ranger station inside. The establishment is full of folk, merry customers eating and drinking, as well as plenty of rangers spending free time between shifts. Scanning the room, a gray heron catches your eye at the back, as she matches the description of the colleagues Redvas talked to you about. She winks and waves you over, confirming your suspicions. Taking a step forward, your eyes catch someone else staring at you and your bag. A sergeant among the rangers, a skunk, has fixated her keen eyes on you. Better not gather any unwanted attention to your delivery. Do you have a nibbler tag? No, I do not have a nibbler tag. I don't have anything close to that. So we'll press no. We have 2 options. We can sneak past the skunk or we can act naturally. And normally it would matter which one of these I picked. But because of our shocked card, any skill checks, you cannot use your skill marks matching the check. So I can use the ones on the side, but not the actual ones for the check. I have 2 on the side of that one, and I have 2 on the side of that one. And since I clicked that, let's just try to sneak past the skunk. Why not? So here are all the things that are going to affect our roll. First off, I can't use this dice because that is the die of the skill I'm trying to do. We are going to remove 2 dice though because these 2 are on the side. It just says on the ones that are matching the skill check. So I still get to roll all 3 of these. I don't get any type of rerolls or anything at all because I need to try to get, what do I need? I need stealth symbols here. And look at that, we got 3. I'm not rerolling that. That's awesome. We'll reveal our outcomes, and we got 3. Look at that. We're going to get the one that's finally at the very top and see what happens. Hopefully get something really good for this. It says, using the commotion to your advantage, you disappear into the crowd of patrons. As you shift between customers eating and dancing, the skunk sergeant soon loses her interest and returns to her enjoying her company. Your little bag and presence wasn't enough to keep her interested that long. Now free from suspicion, you head to the corner table, hosting the lonely gray heron. Let's continue. Sitting at her table, the heron introduces herself as Bakhumal. You hand the bag to her. Excellent service. You need to give Radavas my greetings. She looks at the letters. As expected, Radavas has encoded these. I need to decipher the code from my diary. Come. You follow her upstairs to her room. The room is a mess. A mattress is leaning on the wall with drawers and clothes scattered around the floor. Those cursed owl spies! My diary isn't where I left it. I hope they didn't take it. So we can either search for the diary, which is medium, or I can crack the code, which is hard, or offer moral support. I'm just going to offer moral support. Yeah, good luck on your own there. Though I think we're going to try one of these. Now remember, I can't use the dice of the skills that are there. So sadly, I would get almost nothing to help me. I would get one pink die to help me search for the diary. If I decided to go the other route and decided to crack the code, again, I only get one yellow die to help me because I don't have anything that is going to be able to help me towards my knowledge test. The other words we're looking for are crack and search. See if I can find any of those on any of our cards. And that is a negatory Ghost Rider. I do not have any of those to help me out. So I think our best bet is to just to go for the medium one and hope we roll some good rolls. Looking at our dial again, so that everybody has seen, I haven't shown this very often, we only have the one pink. Now notice we'd have two if we actually did the test, but since we have our shocked status, we're in we're in Toughville here. So I don't get either of these dice, and I have to bring another one of these back in, just the normal dice. That's all I get, and I don't have any bonuses to this roll, and we're looking for a medium test, which means I think I need a couple of these. And we're looking for these particular symbols here, and we got two. I'm good. I'm not going to do the reroll because we know that the medium tests usually need about 2 successes. So we got them. Let's give it a shot. Let's hit our search for the diary button here. Reveal our outcomes. Please say it's 2. Good. 2 to 4. Oh my goodness. I don't think I'd ever get the 5. We'll get our 2 to 4 here. It states, rummaging through the room, you make a huge mess. Bukamel watches from the sidelines. I didn't think the room could get any worse. Miracles happen, I guess. Another miracle happens when you find a harmless-looking purple book. That's it! That's my diary! Bukamel jumps from joy. Now I can decipher the letter. After clearing the mess the owls you created. Apologizing to her, you head downstairs. We'll hit continue. Outside the station, you notice 2 owls taking flight from a second-floor window heading west. Soon after, Bukamel rushes out from the front door. I left the bag unattended for a mere second. It must be recovered. Please, you're my only hope. Why would you just leave the bag? Come on. Oh my gosh. I'm supposed to be pretty observant here, and apparently I didn't even notice that. I do get 2 prestige, which is great. I'm up to 7. And now I'm going to return Bags of Trouble, which is 135. I'm going to return that to our library, and I'm going to get 107 from the library. And again, if I had a partner helping, that partner would have gotten 2 prestige as well. Of course, Bags of Trouble is another quest. It's part 2. 2 owl spies stole some of my documents with sensitive information on them. I bet they are seeking a buyer for them in Arun as we speak. Go to the Sinking Sorrow Tavern and pose as a potential buyer. Folks there can deliver the message to the owls. Bukamel the Grey Heron, Geminian Courier. We're going to visit the tavern in that particular city. And we were able to complete the first part of this, so we'll put this back in the library. And that will end our scene. At this point, we'll go to the calendar phase and move ourselves down 1. We're getting close to the end. This is the end right there. Now, if we look here, we only have 1 day left. Once this gets to this mark, we're going to resolve all of those tokens, and one of those is our end of day or end of the game token. So we aren't going to be able to get 1, 2 over to here to be able to work on that quest we have. There are no quests to get here. I could either do the ranger station as like its own quest, but remember, we have the lost relative as well. I think we're going to do this quest, and then when we play our character again, we'll have these quests available to us when we move into the next game, and we could potentially start here and be able to just start working on that quest if we want to. So let's take a look at this one. We have to visit the station and go to 142. Arriving at the inn attached to the ranger station, you ask the friendly koala innkeeper if she knows anything about Ravsmock, the missing scarlet macaw. His daughter is very worried about him, and you're on the case. An older macaw did arrive here some time ago. He paid for a room in full for months, until he had finished some business in the forest. I haven't seen him for days. He set out one morning saying something about the lake. She hands you the copy of his room key in case you want to search it for clues, and points you in the direction of the forest he set out for. So we either have to explore the woods, which is hard, or search Rasmock's room, which is medium. And both those are going to be absolutely terrible, because remember, I can't use my skill dice because of that shock skill still. So the only dice I'm going to be able to roll is going to be a pink one, and that's if I decide to search Rasmock's room. And on the explore, it's a hard test, but I already get 1 success because of Nara. Whenever you do a survival check, I get one automatically. On top of that, I have this ability here where I can explore and reroll up to 3 dice thanks to my travel guide. So even though it's a harder test, I think we have a better chance of doing Explore the Woods. Our travel guide here is going to allow us to reroll 3 dice, but I don't get any extra dice at all when making this. Normally I would get this for our survival check, but remember I don't get that because of my shock skill. That shock skill is absolutely terrible. I didn't get any. Oh boy, that's terrible. We're going to do our one full reroll here and see what we get. We're looking for, we got 1. Okay, so far we have 1. And I get to reroll up to 3 dice with this ability here. So we're going to reroll 3. I'm going to put that die to the side. Come on, we need at least 1 more. Oh, we didn't get it. Oh no, we only got 2 successes, which is not going to be enough, I don't think. We explored the woods, but probably found absolutely nothing. We got 0 to 2. That's no good. It says here, you head to the forest despite the warnings of venturing deep into the woods alone, confident you'll find Rasmak near one of the few lakes within Martos forest. After a few hours without a sound or smell of water, you begin to wonder if those warnings were for a reason. It's too late now, though, as you lose hope of finding Rasmak, deciding instead to return to the main road, but the road doesn't materialize. No matter how long you walk, you can't find your way past the seemingly endless trees, and as more hours pass, you realize glumly that you've become hopelessly lost. I guess you could say, shocker, we're lost, because I'm shocked. It says here, return lost relative to the adventure library. Oh, that's too bad. We're never going to find this one. Give 50 from the library to the adventure. If anybody was helping, they would also get 50 from the library. And now we're going to take 108 from the library and place it back into the quest slot. Oh, that's too bad because we didn't find the guy. And that's going to be the end of our scene. I've returned a lost relative to the adventure box, and I've taken quest 108, and we're going to place that just right in the back, it says, right there. So that as we're drawing quests from here, eventually we'll get to that one. It probably has something to do with the fact that we didn't find that person, which is okay. We're going to grab card 50, which is right behind here, and at this point we are now, of course, lost. It says isolated. You can't recognize your surroundings. Everything looks so foreign to you. How did you ever even get here? When gained, place your figure on this card. So, and then when we go to our next questing or reading from the journal, we're going to have to do this first, which is absolutely bonkers. That's super good. So I'm going to take my character and place him down on that card. We'll move into the calendar phase, and at this point we are going to go to Monday, which is going to resolve a lot of this stuff. We're first going to resolve the top one. This particular token has to do with this card right here. So our shock card is now going to be discarded according to this, so that we're going to get rid of that time token and that, and put shock back in the box. I never want to see it again. I'm super good at healing people apparently. Come on, I'm a nurse, but apparently the bird's not. At this point, we're also going to resolve this particular token as well, which is going to be this card right here. It's going to be gathering 200, so we're going to have to do that as well. So let's go to the book and resolve this. 200 states, after all the excitement, challenges, and adventures, it is time to unwind for a moment and reflect on your travels. How many adventurers were there in this game? There was only 1, so we'll click on that. Do you have the isolated tag? Yes, we do. We have the isolated tag. Oh, that's terrible. So I'm going to hit the yes button. It says, the one nice thing about being isolated as you are is that there aren't many distractions. Now you can focus on thinking about important things, such as how you got into this mess in the first place. Before you can get to that, however, a seagull in a funny hat carrying a large bag approaches you, cheerfully announcing that she's brought you mail. Wow, that's pretty awesome. While you blink slowly and try to parse how she found you, she reaches into her bag, whistling a happy tune as she does. I receive your mail. How many prestige did you get? We got 7. So we're going to click on the 7 button there and see what happens. It takes her a moment of rummaging through her sack before she starts pulling out letters. 1, 2, 3, 4. She keeps pulling out more and more. Quickly, she constructs a tower of them and hands them off to you. You can barely hold on to them all. This is it for now, she promises before leaving as mysteriously as she arrives. You go through the letters one at a time, each one different. Folks that thank you for your help or praise you for your acts. Others marvel at your skills or are jealous of your heroics. Even some claim vengeance against you. You have made a real name for yourself. You are a figure to be reckoned with a famous soul known to all the corners of Galzyr. I don't know, did they did these people watch me in the same game? I don't think I'm that famous. I think I failed at almost every one of my skill checks, but that's okay. I have to admit, it's super fun no matter what happens. Achievement unlocked, lone winner. You're famous, and at this point, we're going to end the game. So this is the cool thing about the game, is now that we can save it at this point. We'll perform the following save things. We're going to remove all time tokens from the calendar without resolving their timed effects. Meaning, remember we had Nara out on the board. We're going to remove that time token from both of those cards and not resolve what it says. Then we're going to resolve all save effects on adventure boards and cards in play. Adventure boards, items, companions, adventure statuses, local statuses, global status, and locations. We're going to resolve anything that has to have a save effect, and I don't think we have any. Then it asks if we want to play another game right away. No, we're going to put this one away, but we are going to be coming back at some point. Next it says place the cards each adventure has into each adventure's own save slot. So if we were playing with more than one, you would gain these different things. Now, of course, we haven't played with 3 of these characters, and if we decide to, we could come back and play as one of them. Though the game does recommend you kind of play with the same character over and over so you can experience all the different things that character goes through. We're going to take all the quests, items, companions, and adventure statuses and put them into our specific area. Then we're going to place all the remaining cards to the global save slot, including any quests on the notice board, any of the local statuses, global statuses, event deck, and our locations. Then we're going to pack up the components into the box, making sure not to adjust the gold dials or skill markers on the adventure board. So if we did change any of our skills, we would want to keep those persistent throughout the game. So this is a very persistent living game, which is one of its real big strengths. So looking at our character, we're going to grab the items, the quests that I have, all of our status things up here, and place them into our save area so that we're ready to go for our next game. On top of that, I'm also going to leave the 12 gold and all of those things. So let's go place those there. Normally I don't show how you rebox a game up, but it's really important for this game to make sure you got everything exactly right. So we're going to take, like I said, all the stuff for our character and put it behind that save slot. So that character is ready to go. Again, if I have a friend come over, like say I decide to play this live with Colin, might not be a bad idea. What do you think? Put a comment in the comments below. Should we play this game together? I think it'd be kind of fun. He can grab any of these other characters and play with them. And I could still play with my character, and it's not going to really make that big of an effect, which is super cool about this. On top of that, we're going to grab all of the quests that were on the quest board and place them in front of this right here. Then we're going to take all of, let's see here, what's the rest of the stuff? Oh no, sorry, it goes behind. So we're going to place that there. Then we're also going to take all of the different locations we have out on the map, and we're going to place those behind this location as well so that they're ready to go for our next game. The next thing we're going to do is, if you notice, this one said replace this card with 10 from the library. So we're going to put card number 9 back and grab card number 10 and place that here so that when we start our next game, we're on a different month. The last few things we have to put there is we have to place this card back here as well. So if we decide to play competitively next time, we would use this card, but you're always going to have one of those cards available to you. And then of course we have our event deck. We're going to put that into this as well. And so when you go to reset up the game, you're just going to grab everything from here, put it out on the board, and put these tokens where those quests are so you're ready to go. On top of that, you're going to take your character with all the items and status effects. So remember, I'm isolated, so I'm not even able to place my character on the board. I'm going to have to put it on that card at the very beginning of the game, which is actually super cool. When you do play, you are going to reset your prestige back down to the 0, because every game you play, you're going to want to try to get the most prestige you possibly can, either in a cooperative game or in a competitive game. And that is it. We have completed our playthrough of Lands of Galzyr. First off, I'd like to apologize for any pronunciations I made incorrectly, which is probably every one of them. I am horrible at pronouncing names. I actually am learning disabled in the written English language, so it's hard for me to read and say names and things like that correctly, so I apologize for that. I am super impressed with this game. This game has a ton going for it that I am super excited about. One, we only saw a couple of quests, and look at how many quests there are even in, this is just that one front part, but then there's all these other ones. All these little purple tabs here, I think are quests, and they're all scattered through here. So there are a ton of different quests we'll get, ton of different items, ton of different people to meet. This game has an absolutely abundance of replay value. I don't think I've ever seen a game that has this much replay value because you can do so many cool things. I love the skill check. check system, and even though we failed a few times, which was actually most of the time, it was still super fun, and it was neat to see some of these shocked status ailments or the freezing status ailments. We got buckets of ice water dumped on us. How funny was that? That's absolutely amazing that all this stuff is found inside this game. So you can keep on playing. We can go through an entire year in this game, and you still wouldn't see everything that this game has to offer. Kudos to the game designers for this amazing game. If you did enjoy the playthrough, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that bell symbol so you know when more content comes out. Also, please feel free to leave anything in the comments below. I would love to hear from everyone. If you're interested in the game, I'll try to link a link to the actual game that you can pick up. Oh, it looks like I missed a couple cards. We got to put them there so they're ready for the next game. They do kind of hide on the map a little bit because they actually mimic exactly what's out on the map. If you're interested in supporting the channel, a link to my Patreon is found in the description of this video. Our Patreon supporters are able to, one, decide kind of who plays in our games, also helps decide what games we play, and also what we decide to paint for our live painting episodes that I like to do about once every week. This might be a cool game to play live with Colin. Every week we do try to do a live playthrough with my friend Colin from the One Stop Co-op Shop. We get together right now. We've been playing a lot of Oathsworn, but we are going to start doing some extra little games on the side so that people can see some other games other than that one, and I'm really super thinking about this one. Let me know in the description of the video if you'd like to see a live play of this with Colin. I think it'd be super fun, but I would like to also make sure everybody enjoys the content on my channel. If it's not something you want to see, then that's okay. I have no problem playing this game outside, and not only that, this game is super good that I could play with my kids as well. My kids are 10 and 13. I think they'd really enjoy this, and I love the style of this game for kids where it's not like a just run around and beat everybody up. You're actually exploring the world and seeking out some cool items and being able to just gain this prestige. I think this is a really fun adventure game. I haven't played one that's this good in a long time. Again, thank you so much for watching, and if you're excited to see what comes next, then I need you to meet me at the table.